how did we get here? Fight of the year contender, Doo Ho Choi. Hi, everyone's loving you. Artem Lobov. Everyone said, what? I remember where we were. We were in Brooklyn. They announced it. People are like, this can't be true. Cubs fighting Artem. How did this happen? Tell us, how did it happen? How was this your next fight?
I think they're just looking for a fight for me. I gave them a kind of a time frame that I needed because I didn't tell them that I was having a baby, and I wanted to fight before that and then after, give myself a little break in between. So I wanted to fight in a certain time frame, and they were looking for somebody. He just happened to be talking crap about me at the time, and I was in Mexico City cornering my brother. And then Dana called me, and he was like, hey, you want to fight Artem Lobov? And I was like, okay. I was like, I'd love to fight him. Is there a bigger fight? And he was like, that's all we have right now. I was like, if that's the only fight that you guys have for me, I'll take it. I don't mind beating him up. So that was it.
Wow. And so do you feel like, how do you approach this kind of fight? Because he does talk a lot. He has gotten people riled up. He says that, he's the hardest hitter in the division. I mean, he went after you. He wanted this fight. Is this because I remember what you said? You said that, you were going to make him sort of, repent for his sins, that you were going to make him, pay for everything that he said, make him respect you type of thing. Do you view this as like you're going to big brother this guy? Do you, like this is almost kind of a detour from what you were trying to do after the Doo Ho Choi fight, get to the title shot? This is a little side job that you have to kind of take care of and then get back on track?
However you guys want to analyze it, but to me, it's just about going out and having a great performance. It's a chance for me to top my last performance. I know he's tough. He's completely different style than my last fight. So, but he's still a stand-up guy. So I think it's a chance for me to bring out the best in myself. I got to train for 5'5", so that made me push it, beyond my last camp. And so basically I'm just going to go out there and try to show the best version of myself. Just try to show that I'm on another level.
I don't believe this. I don't subscribe to this notion, but there are some who I do see, they write this to me. They do believe it. They believe he doesn't deserve to be in the UFC, that he's only in the UFC because he's Conor's friend. Do you believe that?
I don't believe that talent-wise that he shouldn't be in the UFC. I feel like with his record and things like that, there's so many more deserving people to be in the UFC. So I just, somebody in that situation, if it wouldn't have been for Conor, he would have had to string together a lot more wins and do a lot more things. So I think people are pissed off about that. I particularly don't like him for that. Like I said, I just know there's a lot more deserving people. When you treat your career early on really crappy, you can't expect to be in a good position.
Yeah.
That's just the way that pro sport, pro fighting is. So, I don't think it's a lack of skill set. I just think it was a lack of taking care of, his record and doing the right things at the right time and doing all the things that you need to be a great fighter, from the middle level to the next level.
What, if anything, does he do that impresses you?
He's showing, if you go back and look at his record, he's durable. That's one thing. He's fought a lot of tough guys, different weight classes. So that was probably the reason he has a lot of the losses. But then later in his career, he gets with a good camp, good training partners. So I'm expecting to see, if you look at every fight that he's had in the UFC, he's looked better.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting to see a better version than we've ever seen of him. So that's what motivated me to train so hard.
I was actually going to ask you about that. To me, it felt like his best performance, by far, was against Ishihara, that he seemed a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident in there. You seem to agree with that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And that was the best opponent also that he faced as well. So is it possible in your mind that he actually fights up to his competition? Because he's told me that as well. Like he gets up. So the better the competition, the better he fights. If you agree with that, do you feel like you're going to see an even better version of him on Saturday?
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. But at the same time, I definitely think that Ishihara overlooked him, and I think that the hype of the fight got to him. He looked uncomfortable in there. He never looked settled in. So I don't think that he fought to his full potential. So, it goes both ways.
I remember in Toronto at the post-fight press conference, you were kind of talking about, wanting a big fight and, kind of you're saying, I'm going to take a break and see what they come to me with and things like that. And then you come back with this. Safe to say this is not what you had in mind, right? This is not what you were referring to when you were sitting there talking to us in Toronto after that win.
No, it wasn't. But the thing is I thought that I would end up getting on whatever card with Aldo and Holloway and train my butt off and see if I couldn't be a replacement, if something were to happen. But the fact that they're fighting Brazil and that they're fighting a little later than I expected kind of changed that. So I just wanted to stay active and just have great performances, because the more great performances I'm having building up is I just feel like I'm getting better and better. So another great fight is just going to make me, that much more ready for a title fight.
So you and your girlfriend are expecting your first child, and the story is that you found out the day of that fight in Toronto, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, she found out a couple days before, and then she told me that night after the fight, after everything, the press conference, got back to my room and trying to go to bed about 3 a.m. And then she had made me a card and was like, I want to tell you something. And then she just hit me with it. And I was just kind of like, wow. Okay.
How did you react? I mean, this is life-changing stuff, obviously.
Yeah, I was excited. It was just that I didn't show it. And she was a little bit bummed out about it.
Oh, no.
I had to be like, you realize that I've been on an emotional roller coaster for the whole all week.
Yeah.
And it's peaking right now, and I'm kind of coming down from that. So, she was like, wanted to see this big reaction, but, that's what made me so happy that she told me that night, because with that performance and then earning fight of the night and fight of the year and everything that I could say that was the greatest night of my life so far.
Wow, that's amazing. And so did you have to sort of, say sorry after and go through all that because she didn't like your reaction? Did you have to deal with that?
No, she gets it. So okay. She's cool.
Listen, how far along are we in the process?
5 months, 5.5.
Okay.
So baby due around August.
I remember with my first child, I was walking down the street with my wife, and she just out of nowhere started crying, and I couldn't quite figure it out. So I feel, these things, you have to deal with the emotions. There's a lot of emotions, hormones involved. Mm-hmm. You could deal with that, right? I mean, you're okay with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely, a new challenge, but it's something that I've been professional for 13 years, and you get better at, taking things on. And, that's why I've never wanted to start a family up until this point. And I didn't do a lot of things. I just feel like at this point in my life, I'm very confident with my ability as a fighter, and I'm ready to take on other responsibilities.
This is your first fight now. You're not, you're about to become a father. You know that your girlfriend is pregnant. So as you prepare for the fight and you know that you're now fighting for something larger than just yourself, I'm always curious about first-time dads, how they react to this. Does it feel different up here? Like as you're about to go to battle and you've got a kid coming in just a few months, do you feel like you're approaching this differently? Like there's a different mindset up here, that your thoughts are a little different than all your other fights in the past?
Really just feels like I'm more focused about what my goals are. And, I have real goals, set, as far as, things that I want to do to make my family financially stable, and everything that I want to happen and I know is going to happen is just one win at a time. And, this is the first of many. So, it has me very focused, very motivated to go out there and put on the best performance, of my career and come home happy and be able to relax with my girlfriend and my family.
Do you get a lot of people saying, I hope you shut this guy up? He's the Conor friend and all that, and he talks a lot of smack. Like, are you sensing a lot of people backing you because of who you're fighting in this particular fight?
Yeah, I got a lot of that right away, but I've done a good job of kind of, taking all that out of the equation. I kind of shut people down when they try to talk to me about the fight, when they're just going to say something ignorant. Or it's just like their opinion, because at the end of the day, that stuff kind of creeps in. It changes the way you think. For me, it's just an opponent. I don't particularly like him very much, and that motivates me to train hard. But I've tuned all that out. I don't really go on Twitter and all that. I just post my stuff. I don't like to read the comments.
Yeah,
and it helps a lot. Positive or negative. I try not to, both of those can equally affect you.
Why don't you like him?
Just because it just kind of leads you astray, and it keeps you from focusing on what's important. What's important is me.
Sorry, not to interrupt.
Oh, why don't I like him?
Yes.
Because he's trying to be somebody. Like a lot of these young guys are trying to be somebody that they're not, and he's trying to talk crap. And he called me a bitch and said I had no balls. I feel like those two things aren't true statements, and I feel like if you're going to call me out on something, say something that's true. Call me out on something that's true, but those aren't true. So, to me, it's just ridiculous, and I'd like to make an example out of him.
What happened with all this? Like, there was a minute where we thought that you were going to be the main event, then not the main event, then you were back on the main event. What happened there?
I have no idea. It was, I don't know if they were thinking about it or whatever. I think it was just maybe, if they were thinking about changing the main event, it was because people were just pissed off that Lobov would get a main event slot. But when I called Sean Shelby and Dana, they both assured me I was. And the reason I wanted to know is last minute they booked me to go do a PR tour in Nashville. And I was upset because I was like, don't make me go to Nashville and do all this PR. Tell me 3 days later that I'm not the main event.
Sure.
Because I just won't go, stay home and focus. But of course, when you're doing main event duties, you gotta do the extra stuff. So I'm willing to. But they assured me that we were the main event and not to listen to people. And so that's why I got kind of pissed off that, you know how it is. Some of these media guys just don't fact check. That's something I've told you many times. I appreciate you always fact checking me, anything that has to do with me, because these guys, big media outlets were putting out stuff that they didn't even fact check, and that pisses me off.
Yeah. I don't blame you. So now where do you put yourself in the division? Because you have to be close. I mean, in that discussion, we don't expect Conor to come back to 145 anytime soon, meaning I don't expect him to fight, at least not right now, the winner of Aldo Holloway. You win this fight. Do you think you're next?
I mean, I know I'm next. I'm the only one that makes sense. The only two people that come into play, I really feel like, just out of excitement and just something new, is if Yair happens to get past Frankie, I think that people would he has a strong following in Mexico, so I know he's right there. That's a tough fight, but you never know. He's getting better and better. And then the other one would be the Korean Zombie came back, and he came back strong. So if he has another performance like he did on his last one, I think that it'd be a real tight race to see who's next.
Would you be okay fighting Yair?
I mean, I would fight him if we needed to. Okay. But I mean, we both expressed we're friends. We haven't trained together in a while, but we for a long time we did train together. He helped me out for a lot of camps. I mean, he stayed at my house for a brief time. So I mean, I like him a lot, and I'd rather just watch him do his thing. But if we were both, if it was a number one contender or for the belt or something like that, then it is what it is. But preferably, I like just cheering him on. You know
both Frankie and him. Who do you think wins that fight?
Why? It's tough to call it. I mean, he looks great, but Frankie's just, his smarts in the game are just incredible. His ability to kind of make adjustments is just always impressed me. So, the safe money bet would be Frankie, but I'm definitely not counting a year out. He's getting good.
Last thing before I let you go, I see you sometimes you chime in on the whole boxing thing, MMA fighters doing boxing. You have a history of training with boxers. You have a boxing background, Timothy Bradley, all this stuff. Do you give Conor any kind of chance against Floyd?
Just only the fact that he's so awkward, and that he would have to really train for it and be ready and he'd have to land big shots early. I give him some chance, but I don't think he's going to win. I chimed in on a lot because I thought that if anybody should be doing a boxing match of an MMA fighter, it'd be me.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has more rounds. But I'll tell you, though, the one thing that keeps me able to hang with all these guys at a high level is the fact that I keep them guessing. When I try to just box like them, within 2 rounds, they'll figure me out and then just outbox me. But if I box them and then I switch to southpaw and I'm throwing big shots and then I clinch with them and then I stick and move and then I'm fighting on the inside real like a dirty boxer, and I just keep switching it. I throw a lot of things that they're not used to seeing, and that's the way that I dominate rounds. So that being said, that's going to be the biggest what if for Conor fighting him.
But you think Floyd would beat him?
That would be the safe money bet if Floyd beats him, but I wouldn't. I mean, it's very possible that Conor throws some real awkward stuff, and if he lands something big, kind of throw Mayweather off his game.
We see Conor talking about Floyd. We see Manuwa talking about, hey, would you want to get in on this, an MMA versus boxing card?
I would love for there to be a boxing versus MMA card. I think it'd be awesome. I think MMA guys doing boxing is going to be hard, but it's exciting. People want to see it. It's almost like, like when MMA started, when it was style versus style. So, I mean, I'd love to be in on it, and I'd love to see it.
Who would be your dream opponent?
Let's see. I mean, I had called out Malinaji. He said he would fight me online, but I'd fight anybody. I spar a lot of really good guys.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid.
All right.